Every year, niche.com releases a list of the best suburbs to live in Virginia. Well, in this video, I'm gonna bring that list to the small screen with the best suburbs to live in all of Northern Virginia, according to niche.com. I'll share with you the good, the bad, the ugly with each of these suburbs, and we're getting started right now. Boom! Hey everybody, it is David, your favorite realtor. As always, you know it's another beautiful day right here in Northern Virginia. And if it's your first time here on my channel, please hit that subscribe button because every week I release videos what it's like to live, work, play, pros and cons, top neighborhoods, cost of living, basically everything that you need to know about living right here in Northern Virginia. And as much as I love making videos about living in Northern Virginia, where I love even more is helping folks just like you relocate to Northern Virginia. So if you've been thinking about moving to the area, reach out to me, give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email. Just know I got your back when you're moving to Northern Virginia. So according to niche.com, these are the best suburbs to live in all of Northern Virginia in 2022. And you're probably asking yourself, what is niche.com? Well, niche.com is a fantastic website. What they do rankings. They rank schools, best neighborhoods, best places to live, safety, and so much more. And it's a great resource that I use in so many of my videos. So how does niche.com come up with their rankings? Well, in a nutshell, it uses a fancy algorithm. They have about 15 categories overall, and they source the information from multiple sources, and that's how they come up with their overall rankings. So this list by niche.com is actually the top suburbs of all of Virginia, but we're only going to focus on the top 7 that are located right here in Northern Virginia. So let's get the video started right now with the 10th best suburb to live in all of Northern Virginia with Lansdowne at the Potomac. So Lansdowne is going to be located in Leesburg, which is in Loudoun County. It's going to be right off the Potomac River. It's going to be about 36 miles away from Washington, D.C. So Lansdowne is going to be a resort-style community featuring over 2,000 homes, including condos, townhomes, and single families. And the majority of those homes were built between like 2003 and 2009. And one of the best parts about living in Lansdowne, you have Lansdowne Town Center, which is right in the dead center. You got some great restaurants, you got your grocery store, some retail shops as well. So I believe Lansdowne is probably going to be one of the most beautiful suburbs on this list. It's a fantastic place to raise a family with the highly rated schools. Plus the resort-style amenities, including the Potomac Club, which is a 30,000 square foot clubhouse. You have your indoor pool, game room, gym, so much more. So it's funny how niche.com has Lansdowne number 10 on their list because of the suburbs that we're focusing on this video. Lansdowne easily could be number 1. In fact, when I was looking for a home myself, Lansdowne was high in my list because it is a fantastic neighborhood. I mean, you can literally find a home there and make that your forever home. Like I said, great place to raise a family, beautiful homes, great location. Now, really the biggest con with Lansdowne, it's expensive. It's probably one of the most expensive suburbs on this list with the average sales price of a home coming in at $1,068,000. With that being said though, you can still find a lot of great homes in Lansdowne under $1 million. And if you're even considering Lansdowne, it is a suburb that I 1000% highly recommend. Now the next best suburb to live in all of Northern Virginia is going to be Franklin Farm. So Franklin Farm is going to be located in Herndon, which is in Fairfax County. Now one of the best parts about Franklin Farm is the location, as you're only 6 miles away from Dulles International Airport. It's literally right next to you. And then you're only about 27 miles away from Washington, D.C. Franklin Farm is going to be a community that features over 1,700 homes, with the majority of those homes being single-family homes and some townhomes as well. Now where Franklin Farms is going to be a much older community with basically all the homes being built in the early to mid 1980s. Now even though Franklin Farm is an older neighborhood, you still got a lot of great amenities. You got like 2 pools, 13 miles of trails, tennis courts, baseball field, fishing ponds, and so much more. So Franklin Farm does have a fantastic location. Like I said, you're right next to Dulles Airport. And most of Franklin Farms can be right off Fairfax County Parkway. So it's a straight shot to Reston Town Center. So you have all your entertainment right there. It's also a straight shot to Fairfax. And the average sales price of a home in Franklin Farm comes in at $789,000. So Franklin Farm is a fantastic neighborhood to live in, but I'm actually shocked it came in number 8 according to niche.com. And to be honest, I probably would not have put it in my top 10, probably not even my top 20 suburbs to live in all of Northern Virginia. But hey, this is not my list, this is niche.com's list. Now, the biggest con with Franklin Farm is much older homes. Like I said earlier, they're all built in the 80s. So if you love newer homes, then Franklin Farm may not be the neighborhood for you. Next on the list is South Riding. So South Riding is going to be a master plan community located in Chantilly, which is in Loudoun County. It's going to be about 33 miles away from Washington, D.C. South Riding is going to be an absolutely stunning neighborhood, which features over 6,300 homes. You have condos, townhomes, and single-family homes. And the majority of homes in South Riding were built in the 90s, all throughout the 2000s. So great thing about South Riding is the resort-style amenities. You basically have everything. Pools, walking trails, dog park, tennis courts, baseball field, basically everything, and not to mention an 18-hole championship level golf course. And it's actually a public golf course, which is great because you don't have to become a member, you can just pay per round. Another great part about South Riding, everything you need is right there in South Riding. You have extremely highly rated schools, so it's a great place for the kiddos to get a great education. You have your shopping plaza right in the dead center, so you have your grocery store, some restaurants, and also if you like safety, there's literally a police station right in South Riding, so it's one of the safest places I've ever been to actually in Northern Virginia, but it's a great place to raise a family overall. I go to South Riding, my in-laws live there, my wife grew up in South Riding, so I'm in South Riding once a week, so if you're even considering South Riding, I would 1000% recommend it. Every time I'm there, I always see kids riding their bikes or running around and families walking all throughout the neighborhood. So it's probably one of the most family-friendly neighborhoods on this list. Now, another great part about South Riding is the average sales price of a home is $727,000. You're probably thinking to yourself, David, that's a lot. Yes, it is a lot overall, but for the suburbs that we're talking about on this list, it is hands down the best value overall for your money. Now, the biggest con with South Riding, and there's always going to be a con no matter where you are, it's right off Route 50, and that's like the main highway to get to the rest of Northern Virginia, and there's always so much traffic on it, so that's probably the biggest con. But other than that, South Riding is a fantastic place to live overall, and I 100% highly recommend it. Next on the list is Broadlands. The Broadlands is going to be an award-winning master plan community located in Ashburn, which is in Loudoun County, and they actually built it around the wetlands, which is pretty cool. And the Broadlands is going to be about 33 miles away from Washington, D.C. Now, one of the great things about the Broadlands is the developers, what they were going for was basically enhancing the natural environment, and you can just see it everywhere in the Broadlands. It's absolutely beautiful, but they wanted to combine that with a modern active lifestyle, which they 1000% knocked it out of the park with that. So Broadlands is mainly going to feature single family homes and townhomes. However, they do have some new construction condos that they're building right now. And the majority of the homes in the Broadlands were built in the 90s and the early 2000s, with the average price point of a home coming in at $815,000. Now, some great things about living in the Broadlands. One, highly rated schools. Look it up. You won't be disappointed. You're going to be super close to the new Ashburn Metro. You'll be within 10 minutes no matter where you live in the Broadlands. Plus, you're probably about 10 minutes away from downtown Loudoun. Great place to go for entertainment. Go to the movie theater, great restaurants. Also, in the Broadlands, you have 2 shopping plazas with some fantastic restaurants overall. Another underrated part about living in the Broadlands, while you're in the Broadlands and the Ashburn area, there's not that much traffic overall, which is awesome. Now, obviously, if you're gonna drive into the city, you'll have some traffic, but if you're just driving in the Broadlands, Ashburn area, it is so easy to get around. So I actually did a full video on the Broadlands. Definitely check it out. It's actually one of my personal favorite videos that I've ever done on this channel. So the major con with Broadlands is it's expensive. Other than that, there's really no other major con. That is why Broadlands easily could have been #1 on this list. Next on the list is going to be Arlington, Virginia. Arlington, Virginia is going to be right next to Washington, D.C. And hands down, Arlington is going to be way different compared to the other suburbs that we talked about in this video. So Arlington, Virginia is going to be a fast-paced urban area, features high-rise condos, high-rise office buildings, plethora of jobs, great transportation, and so much more. Now, Arlington, Virginia is definitely not going to be for everybody. If you're like 30 years old, single, and you work in DC or Arlington, it's a fantastic place for you. A lot of great nightlife, it's a great place to meet a lot of people your age. Now, if you're a family of 5 and you get to work from home, I probably would not recommend living in Arlington. Now, some great parts about living in Arlington, it's a lot of culture and diversity in Arlington. And not to mention, if you're a foodie, literally some of the best restaurants in Northern Virginia and DC combined are gonna be right in Arlington. Plus you have Reagan National Airport right there. And of course, you're right across the street from Washington, DC. So like I said, it's a perfect place to live if you actually work in Washington, D.C. Now, the biggest cons to living in Arlington, one is, it's hands down you have the most amount of traffic in Northern Virginia, because obviously the closer you get to the city, the more traffic you're gonna have. And another con is, it is hands down the most expensive suburb on this list, with the average sales price coming in at $831,000. There's so many condos in Arlington, so that number could be a lot higher. So if I actually look at the average sales price for a single family home in Arlington, that comes in at $1.35 million. That is extremely expensive. So like I said, Arlington is hands down the most different suburb on this list. Depending on your situation, Arlington could be number 1 on this list, or it could be 100 on this list. So it just really depends. But overall, if it fits your lifestyle, Arlington is a fantastic place to live. Next on the list is gonna be Stone Ridge. So Stone Ridge is gonna be a community located in Oldie, Virginia, which is gonna be in Loudoun County. And Stone Ridge is gonna be about 35 miles away from Washington, D.C. So Stone Ridge is gonna be a massive community, which features over 3,000 homes. You got condos, townhomes, and single families. And the majority of the homes in Stone Ridge were built in the 2000s and the early 2010s, which makes Stone Ridge the newest community on this video. Now, the average sales price of a home in Stone Ridge comes in at $715,000. So Stone Ridge, it is an absolutely picturesque community. It's actually won a lot of awards for its landscaping. That's pretty cool. But a great thing about Stone Ridge is you have the resort style amenities, very similar to a lot of these other suburbs we talked about in this video. You have clubhouse, pools, tennis courts, a lot of activities for the kiddos. And not to mention some highly rated schools, which I know you're gonna love. So Stone Ridge, which is in Oldie overall has really exploded in growth and popularity this past couple years since the pandemic started. Because that premium of living closer to the city, we don't have that anymore because so many people work from home. So whenever working from home really became the norm, so many people started moving out to Oldie because it's a fantastic place to raise a family, great schools, and it is absolutely beautiful overall. Now, the biggest con with living in Stone Ridge is you only literally have one shopping plaza in all of Aldi. Well, good thing is it's in Stone Ridge. So if you want to go out to like nice fancy dinners or more activities for the kiddos, guess what? You got to drive to like Leesburg, Brambleton, Ashburn, for example. So you're kind of far out. So that's probably one of the biggest cons of living in Stone Ridge. So if you don't mind living far away from a lot of activities, then I would definitely recommend living in Stone Ridge. Now, off to the #1 best suburb to live in all of Virginia, according to niche.com, is, drumroll please, Cascades. So Cascades is gonna be a neighborhood in Sterling, which is located in Loudoun County. It's gonna be about 30 miles away from Washington, D.C. So Cascades has some condos, but it's mainly single family homes and townhomes, with the majority of the homes in Cascades being built in the mid to late 90s. So I actually personally lived in Cascades for about 5 years, between the years like 2012 and 2017, give or take. I really enjoyed living in Cascades. One of my favorite parts of living there was the location, because it was a straight shot to Reston Town Center, straight shot to Tyson's Corner, straight shot to the Ashburn-Leesburg area. So I really did like that part. There were some great restaurants overall, living in Cascades. Very nice, safe community. Never felt unsafe while I lived there. Also, you have the Trump National Golf Course right there. It's absolutely one of the most beautiful golf courses in all of Virginia. Now, I am shocked niche.com ranked Cascades #1. It would not have been #1 on my list, especially I lived there, so I know exactly what it's like. It's a great place to live overall, but it would have been way above where it was ranked at #1. It probably would have been in the 20s, to be honest with you, because this whole list actually goes up to like 148, give or take. So it's actually a pretty big list. But maybe one reason why Cascades came in at #1 on this list is the average sales price of a home is only $703,000, which actually makes it the most affordable suburb on this whole list. So again, this is niche.com's list, not my personal list. If I had to rank it in order, for my personal opinion, coming in at #7 would be Franklin Farm, #6 would be Cascades, then Arlington, then Stone Ridge, then South Riding, and probably tied at #1 would be Lansdowne and Broadlands. And if you want to learn more about living right here in Northern Virginia, check out these videos right here. They're gonna be great resources. And guess what? I'll see you on the next video.